Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. It's time to talk real estate with Laura Bramnick from talkrealestateaz.com. That's the website, talkrealestateaz.com. And Laura Bramnick, of course, is an attorney specializing in real estate, also a real estate agent and a consumer advocate, and you work on residential, commercial, and land transactions.
Yes, I do.
Hi, Laura.
Hi, Sinclair.
How you been?
I've been good, thank you.
Good. You have an Arizona real estate license, licensed through the State Bar of Arizona, specializing in real estate. You cover all sorts of different real estate transactions as well as issues. You can work with buyers, sellers, renters, landlords, HOA associations.
Yes, absolutely.
As well as people who are in a residence that's part of an HOA.
Yes.
Okay, but not both at the same time.
Correct. That would be a conflict of interest.
That would. 480-624-2705. That's the number to get in touch with Laura, and you answer your own phone.
I do.
That's very good. 480-624-2705 or talkrealestateaz.com with all the contact info. Let's talk about HOAs.
Yes. Today I want to center on planned communities because condominiums with HOAs have slightly different rules.
Oh.
So planned communities, as you know, are pretty much single-family homes where you have certain rules and regulations, like what color you can paint your house, that you can't leave your trash cans out, you know, things that we're pretty familiar with.
Right.
So they're regulated by something called CC&Rs, and that stands for covenants, conditions, and restrictions. And so those CC&Rs are a pack of paper. A lot of them are 50 to 100 pages long, and it's a lot of legalese. But it is important to know the gist of what they're saying, because that gives the power to the HOA, and specifically the board of directors of the HOA, to enforce the rules. And if you've ever been fined by an HOA, especially if you felt it was inappropriately so, you know how much power these HOA boards can yield.
So if it's not in the CC&Rs, then it can't be in the rules of the HOA?
Well, the CC&Rs allow the board to enact additional rules.
Okay.
But the point is that they still have to abide by what type of rules the CC&Rs say they can enact and what kind of vote is required to change or add rules. So when you do not pay your dues or assessments on time, some HOAs have monthly, some have quarterly, semi-annually, some are yearly. And then some of them add like a capital assessment if they're doing something that's a bigger project, or if they have to repair something that's a problem in the community.
Now, aren't the dues and assessments typically taken out of an escrow account on a mortgage?
Absolutely not.
No.
Never. Taxes and insurance are, but not HOA dues. And so you have to pay those separately. And some HOAs permit you to give them your credit card, or you can do an auto pay out of your, auto draft out of your checking account. But it's up to you to pay them. And when you don't pay on time, there's certain rules that come into play, and the HOA can fine you, and they can sue you for money.
So you can be sued for not paying your dues or assessments.
And you can be foreclosed on. The HOA can actually foreclose on your home if you don't pay your dues and assessments.
So this is really quite serious.
Yes, and what I wanted to emphasize today is that the fines that they levy, and let's say the interest that they charge on late dues and assessments, they're kind of a separate category than the dues and assessments themselves. Okay? So for one, if you are fined by the HOA, the fine must be reasonable. Now, of course, the statute doesn't define what reasonable is, but if you leave your trash can out, you can't be fined $1,000, let's say. That would be considered unreasonable.
I would think so.
But some HOAs walk a fine line. They may be able to charge you $100, which to me, $10 or $15 would seem more reasonable.
Yeah.
But also, you as the homeowner must receive notice and an opportunity to be heard. And what's really important is that if you are not living in the home, if it's a rental, you want to make sure the HOA knows where you are. Because if your tenant gets the notice, you may never find out about it, and these charges can escalate. You know, the longer they go on, the more they multiply. And then the notice must also state how the fine is going to be enforced. A lot of times you lose your privileges, let's say at maybe the common areas, the pool and tennis courts or whatever, and they might tell you they're going to sue you, and they may even tell you that if your dues or assessments are past a certain point, they may foreclose. The statute says it has to be $1,200 or 1 year in arrears, whichever comes first, in order to foreclose.
All right.
Okay.
So you should have a chance to fight back against this, or at least present your side of the story.
Exactly.
And sometime to make good, if indeed that's what you need to do. Does it help to go in with some representation on some of this stuff? Or?
Depends what it is. I like to at least help prepare people. It can get very expensive to have legal representation, but I like to at least meet with people and find out what's the issue and what kind of proof do we have, what kind of witnesses can we get, what do we know about the board,
What do you know about the CC&Rs?
what do we know about the CC&Rs, so that I think in order to get them prepared, because most people who are not lawyers don't know which is the best evidence to present. And if you have pictures, or if you have the ability to get photos, like if you're fined because your trash can's out, but you have 5 neighbors down the street who aren't being fined and their trash cans are out,
Right.
you can prove that.
Okay.
You know, so that's obviously a simple example, but a lot of people have had issues with HOAs, so you may be able to get other people to testify for you.
Okay. You also work with HOAs, correct?
Yes, I represent one, right now I represent one very small HOA, and I have in the past represented one other HOA. I tend to do a little more on consumer side because they're the consumers are the ones that are typically fighting the HOA, and it's important to know what the HOA can and cannot do. Now also, if you're selling your property and you have past due assessments, they can be paid at closing, but past due fines cannot be paid at a closing. So you could save yourself some money if you sell your house. The only exception is they can be paid, the fines can be paid if the HOA has actually sued you and gotten a judgment against you.
Important to know what does and does not apply to your HOA, what can and cannot be done. And if you'd like to find out, if you have questions about HOAs, maybe a problem with an HOA or some issue, or you're an HOA that wants to do it right.
Right, correct.
Get in touch with Laura Bramnick, 480-624-2705. 480-624-2705. The website, talkrealestateaz.com, talkrealestateaz.com. Laura Bramnick, always good info, Laura. Thank you.
Thank you, Sinclair.